open and call on Mr. Grossi to explain.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully you see in your packet the justifications for fire enunciation system repairs. This is a result, well, every summer we conduct inspections, annual inspections of all of our life safety devices. Whether it's a sprinkler system, fire suppression hoods in our kitchens, or as this is, the fire enunciation systems in our 11 buildings. Unlike other years, this year we were hit with, the findings were, we had many devices that needed to be replaced. Whether it's a smoke detector, horn strobes, power supplies, batteries, were all on the list of devices that had failed, and this is in 7 of the 11 schools. This work has been completed already. This is not something we wait around for. So the request is for $12,910, and that covers the cost of what I had mentioned before, so hopefully you can approve it.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
So I see that one of the suspected causes of so many failures across the different schools is power fluctuations. Is that something that we can do anything to prevent going forward?
Well, the systems are battery backup. A lot of it could be the age of the batteries as well. I mean, they time out like your car battery, but we're not seeing that. Some of the outlying schools that have significant power fluctuations have been susceptible to the batteries dying or even the power supplies failing. Looking at Tom and Francistown is one of those places that seems like they had a power outage every other day this summer, and that directly affects us. We don't have a generator there, so it's straight downtime for however long the power is gone.
Right. No, I guess I I was thinking that the power fluctuations themselves caused problems beyond the fact that we had to go to battery backup. That's how I read this, but maybe I misread it.
No, and that's happened as well. You know, it's tough to tell because you don't believe it's an age-related issue, although at some of the older schools, okay, these devices are 30 years old. They don't have a life expectancy on them. They just go until they don't go anymore. Only this summer, like I had mentioned, we've always have some level of expense that we have to pay, and we build that into the inspection budget. You know, but this year, $12,000 was an anomaly right off the bat. You know, we don't have that. You know, usually on an annual basis, we might spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for the total expense, and $12,000 right off the bat is way too much to swallow in the budget. We don't have that kind of overage built into the budget.
Thanks.
Yep.
Other questions? Okay, we have to keep the meeting open for half an hour, so we will go on with our regular agenda. So if you would please join me in pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just quickly before we really get started with the meeting, we are trying something a little bit different tonight. We are, as you can see, we are using our 2 OWL devices to see if this works better, especially for presentations. So we've had feedback that if people are watching online and we're presenting, it's hard for them to see. So that's something that we're looking at. So we're experimenting tonight with the OWLs. They swivel, so if you start to talk, it will turn towards you. Your picture will be online. We are not using the microphones, so there's no way to mute yourself. So this is, you don't want to have, if you start having a side conversation, it is possible that that's what will be picked up by the OWL. So just want to be And when somebody's presenting, it will be even more important not to be having side conversations so that it's drawn away from the presenter. And I don't, Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
I will during my committee update.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Points of pride.
Oh. So also for anybody that's presenting tonight, it's gonna be a little bit different. You're gonna be up at the front, and people at the front will move out of the way. So we have a few points of pride. So first, at our last Points of Pride, we featured Hope Squad. And since then, just a quick update, we have heard from the Monadnock Community Hospital and AmeriHealth, who we've been partnering with, and they have, for the last 2 years, funded Hope Squad, everything other than the stipends that we give the teachers who become facilitators, and that's paid for with grant funding on our part. They let us know that they're gonna continue to fund it for the next 3 years, so that is huge. So that's good news. This past weekend, the class of 1975 celebrated their 50th reunion. Heather McKillop led, I think, an hour and 45-minute long, excellent tour through the high school. It was fun to hear them reminisce and the teachers they remembered in whose room, and so that was great. So this is a picture of the group that was there. Heather's probably not going to be happy with this. Heather was also invited to their reunion at the country club, and she stopped by and she connected with Byron Niederhausen, who I believe was the second principal of Conval. So that was a nice connection. And then I just thought, as I've been visiting the schools, one of the things that's happening right now is the state of New Hampshire is having a sticker contest for, when you go to the polls to vote. For the last couple of years, there have been stickers that were designed by students, and that was very popular. So they are redoing that sticker contest. 4th and 5th graders can submit, with parent permission, a design, and they're all supposed to say, "I voted." And I believe 4 will ultimately be chosen. So some classes are still in the process of doing this, but I did ask teachers that were doing it to send me examples so you can kind of get a flavor of what kids are doing. And hopefully one of our students will be one of the winners. So I'll just go through so you get a sense. So students were obviously thinking about things unique to New Hampshire, and so again, hopefully one of our students wins. All right.
Thank you. Approval of the manifest.
I certify that the manifests listed below, totaling $2,902,271.53, have been reviewed by me and found to be proper charges against the Kentucky Valley School District for goods and/or services received, and have been properly processed prior to the submittal to the school board.
I move to approve the manifest.
Second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We actually get to vote that way tonight. Public comment. Anyone from the public wishes to comment? No? Okay, thank you. Reports. Let's start with Curtis Hamilton and Communications.
Thanks. The Communications Committee met on Thursday, September 18th. During our board goals meeting a few weeks prior to this meeting, the idea of formalizing a board communications plan came into focus as a high priority. The purpose of developing such a plan extends beyond focusing our immediate and near-term actions as a committee into creating a structure that can be passed along to future boards for guidance and continuity. We've made really strong progress in a short period of time. The plan defines the committee's purpose and objectives. It outlines and catalogs our audiences, both internally and externally. It outlines our core messages. The plan will chart our communications channels and provide us a framework to track and gauge their effectiveness. It also defines strategies to bring consistency to our communications and steadily work to improve them. The plan will further house a calendar that will lend rhythm to our meetings and our output, and ultimately allow us to be proactive in our planning. Two specific action items that came out of these discussions are related to how you, the viewer at home, experience our broadcasts of these board meetings. If you watched on YouTube, as Superintendent Forrest outlined, you have undoubtedly in the past grown frustrated when there's a presentation on the board on the screen behind us and you can't see it. And we really do want you to be able to see these presentations, and we're going to solve this problem very soon. We are trying out the owls tonight. I was simultaneously watching on the broadcast, and it was panning around as we were chuckling instead of focusing on the drawings. So it seems like it's a good try, but it might not be the final solution. But we're really gonna get it right. It may take some time. Secondly, we realize that a lot of our viewers watch these board meetings in the days that follow, and you may not have the time or inclination to watch all 2 hours of every meeting. We'd like to start time-stamping these recordings so viewers can navigate with ease along the progress bar below the video to a specific agenda item. This way you can catch whatever discussion or presentation or decision that matters most to you. We had to postpone our committee meeting for this week. I'm hoping to reschedule it a little bit later. Thanks.
Okay. It says building committee, but I guess we're going to actually call it the facilities committee. So, Tom?
Thank you. Yeah, that was the first thing I was going to address. The name of this brand new committee, we had our first meeting on September 18th, and our goal is going to be to create an assessment for our 2 middle schools and our high school to analyze their physical status in terms of the building itself, the plumbing, the heating, the mechanical. In addition, though, we have a lot of that information already from a recent architectural report. But in addition to that, we want to look at classroom adequacy, at how the school functions as a school. It is a building, but it's also it's a purposeful building, which is the difference between facility and building, by the way, as far as Webster tells us. So anyway, we want to include that. We want to look at safety. We want to look at security, ADA compliance, which is an issue with older buildings because a lot of things that were built in the past aren't in compliance with more recent regulations. This assessment will be given to the board at the end of the year to hopefully help us optimize student learning in a cost-effective way at the middle schools and at the high school. The committee's work will dovetail with the SAU's facility goal, and there will be considerable opportunities for collaboration between our committee and the SAU.
Okay. Any questions for Tom? All right, thank you. Janine?
Okay, so we met on, September 22nd. And the first thing we did was add policy EHAG, which was our AI policy that you remember we adopted. But we found out at the meeting, Heather talked about how there was a lot of trouble in implementing that policy because a lot of the staff are already using programs and software that has AI embedded in it. So in order to give the schools and Helfrey time to review the software with its embedded AI and how people use it and what's safe and what isn't safe and how the students will use it, we suspended that policy for the time being to give time for review. Yes.
What we're using is safe. I just want to make sure.
Oh.
We do have other policies that that are also related to our use of technology and the use of being responsible in our use with technology. It was really that the policy kind of jumped us into time and implied that we already have all these procedures in place already, and we don't. So it was causing some havoc with the staff because, like, it referenced an approved list, and we don't have an approved list. We have guidance around what's acceptable and not acceptable, but so we do have other policies in place that provide guidance. We're just taking a step back with that policy because it was like a little further ahead in the timeline than we actually are.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And we have.
But I don't want people to worry about safety.
Oh, no,
No.
we have policies in place for student protection.
Yeah.
Okay, then we discussed policy IGDG/JJF, two policies around student activities, fund management, and fundraising. We actually didn't spend a lot of time on that because it was just one minor change. The superintendent pointed out that she was spending time approving the fundraising activities in the school, and it was her preference that it be superintendent or designee in the policy, so the principals could take responsibility for approving those fundraising activities in their schools. And so that will be on for a first read tonight, and the changed words are highlighted in yellow. We've discussed policy IHBH, extended learning, and we set that aside for additional information on how credits are awarded. Policy IKF, high school graduation requirements. Now, this does have a whole new section. This policy, because of changes in the 306 rules, provided an opportunity to offer two diplomas, a 20 credit diploma and what we've always had, a 26 credit diploma. And there is a stepped implementation plan to account for the fact that we're midway, of course, and you always gotta take account. So please read that carefully. It will be up to you to approve that policy, and then it will go to the education committee to review how it will work in the high school and how it would be implemented. And this actually, like the 20 credit and the opportunity for a 20 credit diploma, was presented to us by the high school administration, and it was something they felt would be very positive and very good for our students. So policy BEDH or BEDG on minutes was also there were changes in the RSA around minutes, but we have already been we've been doing everything we're supposed to do as far as our regular meetings. The non-public meetings, though, we did a lot of work around, well, I should say Brenda and Dr. Forrest did a lot of work figuring out how we would go about ensuring that our non-public sessions are correctly recorded and noted, and how we go about managing the minutes from those meetings, whether we decide that no minutes are needed, And then, or whether we seal those minutes and how long we seal them for and what the purpose in sealing them. We have to have all that information now, and they came up with a very good method and a form for doing that. We have to, in addition, we identified the method or the procedure that we'll use to unseal and review minutes on a regular basis. So that will happen with the policy committee, and I guess we're gonna have to allocate some time at the end of each of our policy committee meetings to unseal the minutes, which will then be listed as either sealed or unsealed. Whether we decide that they have to remain sealed, if they become unsealed, they're listed, and then they are available to the public for review. And Brenda will be keeping that in a notebook so that people can come and look at whatever minutes they're thinking about that they want to see from 10 years ago. So, usually a 10.
Carl?
I know this isn't the time to discuss the content of these things, but there's one word in the graduation one that really surprised me. I just wanted the whole board to consider that word. It's talking about early graduation. It says parental involvement for students under the age of 18 is required. It seems to me parental approval is what I would have expected to see there. Is involvement in fact what is meant there?
I would think that it would be both if they're involved. Do you want to see approval in there? Why don't you, we'll consider it?
Yep.
I'll send that forward then.
Okay.
All right. Selectmen's Advisory Committee, Curtis.
Thanks. The Selectmen's Advisory Committee met on Thursday, September 25th. We had a short meeting. Assistant Superintendent Stevenson introduced herself to the committee and reviewed the work and goals of the board's Education Committee. Next, an update was given on the board's Facilities Committee after their first meeting. And last up was a review and discussion of the unassigned fund balance. There will be no SAC meeting in October, I believe, and the committee will reconvene the following month, sometime in November.
Okay. Withdrawal.
Thanks. This is going to be a long one. Bear with me. The Withdrawal Study Committee has met twice since our last board meeting and is nearing the end of its work. We first met on Thursday, September 25th. We began with a focus on Francistown's withdrawal study. The district provided its estimated impact of withdrawal on the remaining 8 towns under 2 scenarios. The first scenario considered the outcome of Francistown not tuitioning their students into Conval. This is more of a due diligence figure, just as the Francistown School Committee feels obliged to have conversations with other districts in the event that negotiations do not work out. We too as a district must acknowledge and model for this extreme. Our focus, however, was on the case where Francistown tuitions back in, as this is the stated first choice of the Francistown School Committee. This estimate carries the assumptions that Francistown would educate K through 5 and tuition grades 6 through 12 to Conval at a cost equivalent to the most recent cost per student figure provided by the Department of Education. Under this scenario, withdrawal would carry an average increase of 3.91%, or roughly $1.7 million district-wide to the remaining towns. Discussion continued with members raising questions on the accounting of special education tuition paid back into the district under this model. The conversation was moved to a subsequent meeting, or was continued at a subsequent meeting, so that we could hear directly from Mr. Katz. The committee continued by further discussing the Francistown School Committee's presentation given during the prior meeting. Superintendent Forrest distributed a document to the committee that raised questions about the school committee's staffing model and concerns that their proposed budget would be inadequate to cover the positions as defined. Further questions centered around the outline of their pre-K program and providing clarification as to how Conval has structured our pre-K program. The committee then moved to vote on Temple's withdrawal. The committee unanimously determined it had enough time and information and was prepared to vote, and we then voted unanimously to not recommend Temple's withdrawal. The Withdrawal Study Committee then met again on Thursday, October 2nd. We We first took up the topic of whether the district's withdrawal impact estimate properly accounted for special education tuition coming back into the district in a tuition-in scenario, and the district's estimations and the cost per student calculation were further explained. And we ultimately stuck with the numbers as provided in the prior meeting. The committee then voted unanimously that it had enough time and information to make a determination on Francistown's withdrawal. A motion was made to recommend withdrawal of Francistown, and this motion failed 6 to 8 to 0 on a roll call vote. Thus, the committee's final determination was to not recommend withdrawal. The committee was then given notice that a minority report and withdrawal plan must be submitted to the State Board of Education by November 1st. A draft of the committee's final report will be sent to members early next week and will be discussed and submitted for approval at our next meeting on Thursday, October the 16th at 6 p.m. I also asked for input from all members of the committee on the withdrawal process and what led to their determinations. My aim is for the final report to be thorough and fully capture the process, discussions, and perspectives of the entire committee. Finally, the committee moved to approve the final report from the Temple withdrawal study. Discussion centered around the length of the report, with several committee members objecting to the need for its scope. The report was approved by a vote of 9 to 5 to 0. It has been included within the board drive in this week's packet. And I'll ask at this time that the chair acknowledge receipt of the report and submit it to the State Board of Education. Completing these steps will bring these proceedings to a close regarding Temple. And the report will also be published on the board website.
So, as Carter said, we have received the Temple report, and it is in your shared drive. So if you wish to go in, if you were not part of those proceedings, you can go into the shared drive and read the Temple report. But legally, the board has received that. So, any questions for Curtis? Okay. Jim Frederickson, Budget and Property.
You had a public hearing tonight on one trust fund expenditure. You're gonna have two more in the next board meeting. One will be on facilities vehicles and one will be on the high school library HVAC system. We discussed and approved our budget property goals for the year. I'll be posting those, sharing those. They're short and sweet. They support the board goals we all approved a few meetings ago. We finished discussion on several of the usage of the several of the trust funds. We've got a couple more discussions to go, so wait till we publish them all at one time. And what else did I want to say? The longest discussion was regarding the Conville High School concession stand. It's got a long history. There's concern about the scope and the cost of the program, of the project, I should say, and we're going to be working towards an RFP that will be issued to an engineer so we can go out and get construction bids, and the idea would be we do it next summer, but I think it's gonna be, take some discussion and decisions gonna need to be made in terms of how much money we're going to spend on a concession stand out by the football field. More on that later. If anybody's interested, wants to participate in helping with that RFP, let us know.
Okay, thank you. Before we move on to the student representatives, let's go back and finish up with the opening public hearing. So I would like, if there are no other questions, I would like a motion to accept Mr. Grossi's request of $12,910 for the alarm and electrical systems.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll move on to Liam and Marcus.
Okay, so In the weeks following our last meeting, we have had an eventful, few weeks. So on October 1st, clubs had their first chance to show themselves to the rest of the student body, and this resulted in about 250 to 300 students being in clubs in total now. With the club fair, Conval has also hosted various field trips and events in the past weeks. Some of these field trips included an Echo Club field trip in preparation for their Hype conference, which surrounds the topics of sports philosophy and sports leadership. They also had a Spanish field trip to the Museum of Fine Arts, and a CTE field trip for a construction and career day. Conval also hosted various college visits, teaching students about college life and getting them ready for college applications. After that, there was the Harvest Fest last Saturday, which Student Council hosted, and it centered around all of the exciting Conval sports games. Clubs were able to host stands, fundraise, sell food and drinks, and even play some fun games.
As Mike has said, we've had a very busy couple of weeks. Last week was Conval Spirit Week. On Monday we had Comfy Day, where people were supposed to come dressed as comfy as they could. On Tuesday it was Tropical Tuesday. I forgot to bring something, so I got a fanny pack and pretended like I was getting off the plane at vacation. Wednesday was School Colors Day, where we wore blue and gold. Thursday was New England Day, just as Adam Sandler or in lobster costume, as one of our teachers did. Anything New Englandy. And then Friday was Pink Out in support of cancer awareness. Last Saturday we had the homecoming dance in the SMS gym, just a couple hundred feet that way. The theme was A Night in Rio, and we had a big turnout. Over 350 students attended. It seemed like people had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Let's see, what else? Yes, the National Honor Society last year started a thing called PES Pals, where once a week, members of the National Honor Society would go down to PES to help out wherever they could, volunteering with a class or a particular student. This year it has expanded. I personally am going down to DCS every Tuesday, which is a lot of fun. And I believe someone is going to Pierce Elementary as well. Hopefully we'll expand even more in the future. And then we also had German Week this week. It's currently ongoing. Students are celebrating German Week by listening to music, playing trivia, and teaching their friends who are not in German phrases. Monday was German American Day, celebrating the effects that German immigrants and German culture has had in the United States. Today was Teach German Day, where students in German classes created gummy bears to teach their friends German phrases. Tomorrow is Tag der Deutsches Einheit, for people who don't speak German. That's Day of German Unity, where the students will learn about October 3rd, which is the day that East and West Germany unified after the fall of the Berlin Wall. And then Thursday is Schwarz-Rot-Gold-Tag, which is Black, Red, Gold Day, which is Germany's flag's colors. So students will come dressed in black, red, and gold. Then a couple more things. As part of all the field trips that went on last week, NHS visited 100 Nights over in Keene. They helped out at the shelter, learned how that worked, and ultimately had a lot of fun. And then on Thursday, we will have a day of service, where we have over 50 different service opportunities, and most students will be going out to them, helping out wherever they can, helping out in the community. It's all volunteer work, so you might see us around town then. And that's all.
Okay, any questions for them? Okay, I know last year we got a lot of information about the Community Day, and it was, people did a terrific job on it, so hopefully people will enjoy doing it again this year.
Yes, I will. I completely forgot to add one last thing in, about the day of service. Last time we were here, I had raised up the question about getting $1,000. I've worked with Mrs. McKillop and, Mr. Pimentel, sports director. We've gotten all those funds, so, you guys don't have to worry about that, so.
You're getting better and better all the time. Okay. Consent agenda. Part of the consent agenda tonight, we do have our special ed director with us tonight, Deb Riley, for those of you who have not met her. And there's a section about 2 special education paraprofessionals justification. So, did you wish to speak to that?
Sure. Hi. As you might know, paraprofessionals are decided by an IEP team when they are needed by students. Those needs are based on, or that need for a paraprofessional is typically based on strengths and needs, their goals, their services, and it is a decision that is not taken lightly. And it is needed to ensure for a free, appropriate, and public education, also to provide the least restrictive environment for our students, and to be sure that they can access the general career experience successfully. We as a district are obligated by law to make sure that we follow the IEP and implement the IEP in every aspect of the IEP. So we do have a need for 2 paraprofessionals for students in our district. And so we're requesting those positions. The financial impact, we're going to take from some open positions that are still there, and that's in the information in the report packet.
Okay. Questions for Deb? Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, any other questions about anything in the consent agenda?
Just a simple one, is the literacy committee a subcommittee of the education committee or a separate committee?
The education committee?
Literacy and education, is literacy a subcommittee?
No.
No. So they're two separate committees?
The literacy program was brought to the education committee, but we are going through a model and
The
Dr.
minutes
Flores
reference the
talk.
literacy committee within the education committee discussion, so maybe that'll just change the program. Confusing.
Yeah,
We have a in-district literacy committee that's made up of staff within the district. So they're teacher representatives from different grade levels, different schools. They are doing work related to curriculum renewal, and that group, members or representatives from that group presented to education committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, they are going through a new K-4 literacy program that they are trying out in the schools. So, okay. Any other questions on any of the consent agenda items? Yes.
Stipends for the athletics, those are the new stipends. I didn't check them over.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions, can I have a motion to accept the things in the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain on the school board meeting minutes. I am in favor of personnel.
Okay. We have that. All right. Superintendents report.
So I see 2 teachers in the background, or in the back of the room, not the background, sorry. that are here to, I believe, support Heather, and they're gonna present on NIA, so I would respectfully ask that we move things around and do that first, because they have a very early morning, and they're welcome to stay, but I'd also love to get them out of here knowing how early their day starts. Is that okay?
So we can have them come up.
And I didn't tell them they have to come to the front of the room, so it's an extra bonus.
Should be all right.
You won't even have to use the microphone.
All right, so, good evening, everyone. I've met all of you, Heather McKillop, high school principal. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce Liz Concannon and Liz Moore. So if you remember the name Liz, you're good. Liz Moore is the English department leader, and Liz Concannon is the department leader for world language, and they are our co-chairs for NEASC. So last year, we had the opportunity to begin our very first ever collaboration conference visit. So NEASC, the accreditation committee, which I'm sure you're quite familiar with, has started a new process, and it's really meant to be more collaborative. So they're not just coming every 10 years at the decennial visit, where they come in with their clipboards and kind of tell you what's wrong and write a report. And to experience it, I can tell you firsthand, and I'll ask, Liz and Liz if they agree, it was really wonderful. We had the opportunity to write a self-report and go through the new abridged standards together, and then a smaller representative group of individuals who were current teachers, administrators, district leaders were able to come in, see what we said, go around, look in the schools, see what they saw, talk to teachers, talk to students, view our facilities, look at all of the data that they could find, and then write us a comprehensive 47-page report that's really like a check-in. It's a temperature check 2 years before the decennial visit, before your 10-year, like this is your 10-year report, to let you know how you're doing and where you should place your focus in the next 2 years before that report process comes. And right now, as we're working on the budget, there'll be some costs included because their visit will be in our next budget cycle. So the 2026-2027 school year is when that team will come, which will be about 8 to 10 members that will come to back. We have heard that they were going to try to see if the same team can come. That's something NEASC is hoping to do. They're not sure if that's going to happen. So that's just to give everyone some background on the collaborative conference visit, because that is a new portion and has not been done in the past. Okay, so tonight, Liz and I will be sharing with you an overview of the process, some of the commendations that they shared from the report. We're not going through the entire 47-page report, some of the priority areas, and the growth plan. All right, so an overview, I kind of gave you the background. They came to us on April 7th and 8th. The collaboration team, again, met with different stakeholders in the district. There was a group of parents that came in. These were not self-selected parents. I put an email out to everyone, so anyone had the opportunity to come in, for students or families. There was a group of SAU personnel. They did request to see certain members of the district team for that. Students had the opportunity as well to talk with them. The team provided us commendations, recommendations to guide the creation of our growth plan. You're not tasked with a growth plan because you're doing something wrong. There is a template that NEASC gives every school, like 4 different areas you can grow before they come back. That's part of what NEASC charges you with. And then the expectation is you're working towards that growth plan in good faith. So when they come back in the decennial visit, maybe not everything is completed and done, but you're showing your progress and what you're currently doing to make forward movement. And again, there are some budget considerations based off of their recommendations. So here are some recommendations, and I won't read all of them, but I'm proud because we have amazing students and staff that work really hard. So it was nice that they highlighted some different things about our strong commitment to social emotional needs of our students, and they mentioned Hope Squad. So like Dr. Forrest mentioned tonight, that was something that students mentioned, and that just started last year. So they commented on that. They loved the implementation of tasks, that intervention block that students had access to, the focus on student learning, the community involvement that they saw that was evident, and the opportunities for all students, the way that our school was able to kind of break down any barriers so any student could have access to different opportunities and classes. The CTE programming noted different areas of strengths for the programming. So I'll let you read those, some forward-thinking vision, some of the strong industry backgrounds. And here's kind of the priority areas overview, and maybe I'll let you press step
Sure.
in a minute too.
So, as part of our self-reflection, we were asked as a school to identify areas that we thought we needed to work on or would like to focus on for the next forever. So they looked at our priority areas and agreed with many of them, and also switched out one that we thought that we needed more help in, and they were like, no, we see all the evidence we need. Here's what we're hearing is what would be more helpful for you all. So the 4 areas that they asked us to look at for the next several years, firstly, the vision of a graduate, which is something we've been working on kind of slowly. Here we go. Vision of the graduate, if you've been around for a while, we used to have, during our last NEAS decennial, 21st century skills. There were 7 or 8 of them, depending on who you asked. And NEASC has moved to an idea where they want to know not all of these smaller individual skills, but they should all kind of build into, by the time our kids go from Antrim Elementary School all the way up to Conval High School or Temple or whichever school, our Conval graduates have the same foundational skills to be successful in the world. And so we took those 7 ideas and condensed them into students being resilient learners, being effective communicators, being collaborative team members, and a full mouthful, informed civic contributor, the idea that they know what's going on in the world and know how to engage in their communities. This poster, these 2 posters hang in most classrooms at Conval, and they were designed by students in Jess Madden's graphic design program and compiled by her, so we are very thankful for that. But we're in the infancy of rolling this out to the community and to parents, and so they supported our desire to continue finding ways to fold that into our curriculum, into our classrooms authentically, making sure that parents, school boards, people out in the community know what our vision is for all of our students when they finish Conval.
So the next part is the growth plan. So we didn't formally have a growth plan. So we are working on that. That's due November 1st. And we are presenting this to staff on the PD day on Friday to get some feedback from them, because part of the growth plan is making sure there's feedback from all stakeholders. And so again, this goes to all schools without getting accredited. Just, what are our priorities and what are our steps that we're going to take to work towards that. And again, it doesn't mean that has to be done, in 3 weeks, but with good faith, as Heather said, that we're working towards, our goals. And we have checklists and stuff, check-ins to make sure we're working towards that.
And I think we have some more in-depth pieces about each of these, but another area was they heard teachers talking a lot about the need for more formal collaboration time, and also there were some areas in the facilities area of the report that they recommended we consider. So vision of the graduate, basically what we just spoke about, that we want to have and we do have and are moving forward with a plan to continue increasing how it's embedded in what we do and who we are at Conval. You've probably heard, Conval Cougar Cares, and those are the ways we want students to go about being in our school and in the world. And we want them to know and understand vision of the graduate in a similar way that they understand Cougar Cares. The rubrics for Portrait of a Graduate actually also are aligned with CARES language, so if you're interested ever in seeing those, we tried to make all of those things work together really well. And Liz said the growth plan is due November 1st. Hooray. NEAS suggested that we focus some on formal collaboration time. They also suggested that lots of schools are figuring out how that works best for them. And so they gave us lots of feedback, but this is probably an area where we'll need a lot of, how do we say it? Lots of input and discussion, collaboration on how best to collaborate.
I asked them, I said, teach me the way, like what is the answer to make this happen? And all of them said, I wish I could tell you. So no one had the perfect solution, but they pointed to different districts, including some of their own, some that weren't on a block schedule. It was a little bit easier. Some of them mentioned that their districts, when they did professional development days, there were half days for students, so there was longer times for some built-in collaboration. There are some schools not too far from us that have a delayed opening twice a month for students where there's some built-in collaboration. So there's lots of different things to explore, but again, that would be some larger conversations that we would need to have and continue. So NEASC suggested that this is something to look into. And then the facilities as well. So they had some citations from the facilities because they reviewed some of the different reports and documents that had been there, and I have sat with our facilities director, Tim Grossi, to review many of these pieces. Our district, with the proposed potential renovation plan that was up last year, a lot of that would have addressed many of the concerns that were cited. So with that kind of being paused and put on hold, I guess you would call it an opportunity for us to come together and figure out the best ways that as a district we can look at approaching some of the things that have been noted concerns in terms of ADA concerns, things that we need to pay attention to. So there might be another opportunity to kind of look at some CTE potential wonders, and then once we know what's happening with that, it might give us a forward vision as to where we're going to go from that. There's actually a member of the visiting team that tripped in the carpet in the main hallway, and then we just kind of put the duct tape back down over that after. So anyway, there were some things that were noted that we reviewed in that.
And they, I heard you mentioning earlier the architect's report that you and the facilities group are going to be looking at, and that is the same, one of the pieces of evidence that they use. So it sounds like all of our work is coming together and will align nicely.
CTE programming, I can tell you this first one, allocating additional space for graphic design and digital photography programs. That was something I looked at over the summer. We were trying to find a few different additional spaces. That's not something that happened for the start of this school year. We know this is something that is needed based off of the size of their programs and how it's growing. So this is certainly a need. Expanding some of the dual enrollment and IRCs, that's industry recognized credential for remaining CTE programs. In the report, it talks about utilizing rubrics across all programs. Our CTE director said that rubrics are not used against all programs. There's some different competency pieces, so we've outreached for some feedback on that. And then the concentrator and completer data. So we're kind of going through some of that. And again, these are just the next steps that I think we have captured on what we're doing. We're on top of it. We have great co-chairs. Our staff has been very involved throughout the collaboration, our collaborative conference visit process. I think at least once a month we had staff involvement. And then for the different learning standards, every staff member was tied to a learning standard. So really the self-report was written in a collaborative voice of our staff. And then every time it was voted upon before it would go into the narrative. So it really did feel like a whole school process. And I think when they came to visit, there's a sense of pride in the school. So
I think that the shift in the way that NEASC has portioned out their visits, even with them coming twice, the last time NEASC was visited at Conval, it felt like we stopped all of our professional development work for the whole year to write a self-report and to collect all of the paper, at the time, evidence. And so this time, it felt like we could meet, we could talk about things, we could collect it in a narrative, then we were able to get quicker feedback. We talk in education about how the faster the feedback gets to the student, the more effective it's going to be. And this felt like it was a much more effective way for us to give feedback on what we're doing well, which there were lots of things they commended, and things that they thought that we could work on were the same things that we would like to work on, so.
Questions? Yes, explained it very well.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
That was great.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Right, we'll go back to the monthly events calendar.
Okay. So this Thursday, Communications Committee meeting has been canceled. And the Building Committee is scheduled to meet at 6, is it?
Seven right now.
It's 7 right now, but it's been proposed to move to 6.
That would be great, that's what we'd like to do.
Any concerns from any?
Better? Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the name of the committee?
Facilities.
Oh,
Facilities.
facilities. The other thing is, I know that Brenda sent out a list of when all the schools are doing their school pictures. We've asked everybody to try to get to a school to have their picture taken. I know there's some of you that cannot be done. Our intent is we would really like to get your pictures on the website so people see who you are. So there are 2 possibilities still available. So this Thursday from 9 to 11, you can go to DCS. I will be going because I also need to do this. The other option is Thursday, October 16th from 9 to 11 at Pierce School. So if you're able to do that, we would appreciate it.
You know, I had a little problem. They said I needed a QR code to get my photo taken,
Oh,
and then they just put it on an index card, put my name on an index card, and that was it. So I don't know if there was some sort of miscommunication there, or.
The codes are for scanning for signing in, so I think we didn't send necessarily your name, so you should be all set.
I think I'm all set. They took my photo.
When I went to the South Meadow Picture Day, anyone who didn't have one, they just keyed it right. They had the ability at South Meadow to just key in the person's name. But that apparently wasn't the case.
No, there
in the
was
smaller
some.
sites. Yeah, so.
I just had to kick the kindergartner out of the chair and get my photo.
Rightly so.
Nice.
When I went, they also asked me for a QR code. I just explained that I was a school board member, and I'm sure somebody in the SAU is gonna get a package A of me.
yes, you will probably get a package and you can exchange pictures with each other. Or give your, if you're married or your partner, you can give an 8x10 too.
I make my children hang it on their refrigerator.
Is there a different, can I get you a picture if I cannot get to those 2 days?
Yeah, and actually, if you could get a copy of your school, we were trying to get a uniform look.
I can do my school photos.
Yeah, that would be great. So that's all I have for this week. Anything else for this week? Okay. Next week, the district is closed on Monday. This is not on the monthly calendar, but on Wednesday, October 15th, you all have a meet and greet with the CVEA at the Country Club, where you get to talk about anything except board business. So you can talk about the books you've read, trips you're taking, add anything, and that's from 4 to 6.
There will be meatballs. It's gonna be good, yeah. Yeah, we're springing for it. this year. Last year was great, it was a great opportunity to talk to some of the teachers. I hope you all come.
If you have your picture packets by then, you could bring those with you.
There's a cash bar.
On Thursday, the 16th, the Withdrawal Study Committee is meeting at 6 PM here at the SAU. And on the 16th again, from 9 to 11, you can go to Pierce School and get your picture taken. Anything else for next week? Okay, the week of October 20th, that Monday, Education Committee is meeting at 5:30 at the SAU. On Tuesday, the 21st, Budget and Property is meeting at 5:30 at the SAU, followed by School Board meeting at 7.
There'll be 2 public hearings.
Oh, 2 public hearings, yes. And anything else for that week?
Would communications be available to meet on the 23rd at 6 o'clock? So 1, 2. Yes. 3, okay, we'll schedule that.
Okay.
Glad you guys can come too.
It's at 6, correct?
At
Yes,
6, and I'll email Kat too.
Are there meatballs in a cash bar for that one?
Not here, no.
We're in. If you guys are coming, sure.
The last week of October, we've got on Monday, the 27th, Policy Committee meeting at 6.
So the Facilities Committee will be doing some visits to the 2 middle schools and the high school, which have not been determined yet. So we're not gonna meet at our regular time at night. We're gonna have 3 site visits in the next 6 weeks, which we will determine at our Thursday meeting of this week. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because we won't be having meetings at night.
Okay.
I'm gonna miss this Thursday's meeting, so if you could just let me know what you come up with for times for the site visits.
If you could let me know your schedule.
Don't worry, if it's during the day, I'll let you know.
Okay, great.
I'm mostly available.
Heather, don't worry.
You have the Education Committee? You come to that?
Month of November, on Saturday the 1st, we have the School Board Budget Work Session at 9 AM here at the SAU. Meatballs. We have provided food before. The first full week in November, on Tuesday the 4th, Budget and Property at 5:30, followed by School Board meeting at 7. Anything else for that week? Okay, the following week, nothing is scheduled right now, and the district is closed on the 11th. I get so excited when there's like, no meetings.
I'll hold off.
No,
I'll let you sit with that for another week.
Okay. The week on Monday, November 17th, we have Education Committee at 5:30. And then on Tuesday, we have Budget and Property at 5:30, followed by a School Board meeting at 7. And that Thursday, Selectmen's Advisory at 6 PM.
Okay.
Anything?
Policy on the
Policy.
24th. No ComCom?
He was thinking about it.
Oh, you're
I was
thinking
going
about
to
it.
suggest scheduling it on the 13th. on
Yeah,
that
I'm
Thursday,
actually
but-
absent that day, so. It wouldn't.
Can't do it.
Neil will take my place.
We'll come back around at the next meeting and
Okay, no problem.
get it in. I'd like to get it to a point where we have a standing day. It's eluded us this year. It was nice to have it paired with facilities, and that's what I was kind of hoping to achieve, was to do it back to back. I mean, that would benefit
In the future.
the two of us,
Yeah,
but
this next few weeks.
figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, and then you have, the updated October 1st enrollment. And these are the numbers that we will use when we do projected, numbers for next year in
If
budgeting.
these get sent to the state or something, what happens with these numbers?
Well, we do report October 1 enrollment numbers to the state, yes.
So these are our numbers for October 1st, 1,864. And then, the number we reported last October 1st was 1,936.
Mm-hmm.
So we've dropped 71 students.
Mm-hmm.
Or 72.
Oh.
Which this was forecasted when we go back to the,
Was it?
well, yeah, when we were looking at consolidation.
So this is
We
demographic, somewhat at least partially demographic?
Mm-hmm. And we got a report from NSDEC last year, and we'll be getting an updated one this year that has projected enrollment numbers, but yes. They're not projecting our numbers will be going up.
They will or they won't? No, we know
They
that.
aren't.
No, there was a little bit of encouragement that we gained 5 students and we get 4.
Curtis?
I mean, just looking quickly at the historical enrollment, it doesn't look out of line with other jumps in other years. We've had, gaps of 90 or 100 down, in 2011 to 2012, 2012 to 13. And there was, even 22 to 23 was, a jump of a similar size. So.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see if any of those are with the new EFT program, considering how many signed up for that.
Yeah.
And well, you can go to the DOE website and they have spreadsheets that show number of students who are participating in EFAs.
Yeah. They might even have historical data.
Okay.
Those previous big drops are fairly well correlated with being a year or two after, big hits in the economy, right? So this one seems a little out of place. It's concerning.
Well, it might be correlated with the fact that nobody can find housing around here.
We get this breakdown by town.
And again, it's expected enrollment versus what we actually see on October 1st. So that's the reporting deadline where it's reported to the state, so. Okay.
So you're talking about town of responsibility? Yes, we can ask.
Right, moving on to first read policies, Janine?
Okay, 3 policies for first read tonight. There is IGDG /JJF. We have it in 2 different places in our policy manual. The student activities, fund management, fundraising. Remember, there was just one phrase in there. It's highlighted in your materials what the change is. IKF, high school graduation requirements, is a much more extensive change, so you might want to spend some time taking a look at that. And remember that Dr. Forrest can answer your questions. I don't think I could answer those questions very well. Then the next policy for first read is BEDG on the minutes. And again, the body of how we conduct our meetings, there were really no substantive changes. We were doing everything according to the RSA, but our non-public, how we conduct non-public sessions and those minutes, and how we manage those sealed minutes and opening those is quite extensive, so you might wanna take a look at that. I don't think we included the form that we're gonna use, did we? I don't think we did. If you have questions about that form, then I can answer that. And then we have a recommendation to suspend policy EHAG, that use of generative artificial intelligence. Do we vote on that again?
Yes.
We do, okay. Yeah, so we'll have to vote on that again next week as well.
Why are we waiting till next week to suspend it?
Could we do that now?
Yes.
That's nice.
Does anybody need time to review? I guess that's what it would depend on. Do you feel you need the time to review that policy again? I mean, we have to suspend it. No, okay, so I'll, go ahead, you can entertain a motion.
I move to suspend policy EHAG, use of generative artificial intelligence.
A second?
Okay, I've got a question, having not been at the policy meeting when this was discussed. I certainly think that although we can suspend the policy, we should ask our staff to continue to use it as guidance as much as they can. I mean, this is likely to be our objective policy, so we want to make sure that our staff is making progress toward getting aligned with the policy in as much as it is defined while it's suspended. Right? We don't want them going off in another direction.
No, and that's what real, oh,
Sorry.
nope, you're good.
Heather, did you want to comment on that?
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I was just gonna say, I agree with you, Jim. I think the parts that we were talking about in the meeting is it said a list that's approved, and because there's not a list, that was the difficult part, and then it talked about the training, and there hadn't been provided training.
Yeah.
So like Dr. Forrest mentioned before, there's still, the district has put great parameters in place. Just those pieces that were.
Okay. Dr. Forrest? Were you gonna add something?
Yeah, I feel like we are communicating with staff. This is at the forefront. It was just the policy kind of implied that all of these things were already in place, and that's what was causing the issue. And we do have to grapple with some things, because even like an approved list, AI is embedded in so much that even thinking about how to, but a huge thing, just for example, that we are emphasizing is if people are using AI, we have emphasized over and over again, they cannot be entering any personally identifiable information about staff or students, right? So we're focusing again on the responsible use of AI.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions then, we can vote to recommend that be suspended. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. The presentation of resolutions.
I have to do, I'm doing that for Kat.
Okay.
Okay, so if you remember, Kat is our delegate to the annual convention. But she is doing EMT training on Tuesday nights through December. So I told her I would do this presentation, and then we would need to vote. So the annual, one of the services that NHSBA offers to us as a school board is like canvassing, like what's important to school boards across the state, those who belong, our clients, and then having a privileged place at the table with the legislators. So when legislators are convened and they are looking at different bills and different possible pieces of legislation, NHSBA has a privileged place at the table and lets those legislators know about what school boards need, what school districts need, what they're thinking, what their beliefs are. In other words, they're our voice at the table, and they're a very strong and respected voice. So what this annual convention is all about is our delegates come together and they let NHSBA know what the boards want to see as a resolution for them in the coming year. In other words, we have a preview of what the legislation might be, and this is our response to it. So those resolutions, those proposed resolutions are in the drive in this folder. And next week you can vote on them, and Kat will know how to go to that meeting at the end of October and let them know how we feel about these issues. So the biggest pushback, it was at least three districts came out with different resolutions opposed to open enrollment. And they were they were very specific, raising questions about implementation, as you can imagine, concerning finances, the way school districts are funded, the enrollment deadlines, budgets, disciplines, special ed, additional unfunded mandates, to name a few, to the administration. And NHSBA agreed to that. So they always offer their own recommendation back to these resolutions, and they said, yes, they changed the wording somewhat, and you will see that in your proposed resolutions. And they said, yeah, this is gonna be a forefront issue in the coming legislative session. There was one to fully fund public schools before other obligations. NHSBA proposed in addition to an already existing resolution. They'll do that sometimes. They'll say, we already have this resolution. So they'll say, we oppose this, we already have this resolution. Or they'll say, okay, we're gonna add this phrase to make this stronger, or this additional concern that school boards have. There was a resolution for opposing all non-germane amendments to legislation. So you know how sometimes on a bill, they'll add something into that bill that has nothing to do with the subject of the bill. So school board said, we don't want this, particular school board said, we don't want that anymore. NHSBA opposed that because they said it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes those non-germane additions, those non-germane amendments get us some good things, so they oppose that. All schools that receive state funding, one board said all states that receive state funding must meet all state and federal laws. NHSBA opposed this. This was interesting due to their opposition to vouchers. They felt that would interfere with their stand, with our opposition to vouchers. So they opposed that. Another board said that school building aid wasn't enough, they wanted more. And NHSBA said they opposed that because there are already 2 existing resolutions that currently exist that address the school building aid. There was a resolution for funding school meals. And again, NHSBA said there is already a resolution around nutrition in school districts and funding those meals. There was another resolution to enforce federal gun-free school zones. They didn't support it because, again, we have standing resolutions that had been voted in previously around opposing guns on school district grounds. There was a resolution to amend to allow a simple, this is a good one, to amend votes on school building renovations to address facilities degradation. So in other words, this isn't like new buildings or, big renovations, but, just when you're just trying to keep your buildings going, like we are right now with our facilities thing, to be that, change that to a simple majority required to pass that, that bond or that warrant article that would be for that funding. So it would be a simple 50+1 as opposed to a majority vote, or what was it, what's it called? Yeah, the 60%, 50% plus 1 vote. And honestly, I didn't write down whether they approved it or not. I think they did in another form, they changed the wording. But, oh, I know, yes, they did approve it, but they said it's gotta be specifically for, repair and not like new buildings, like not building new schools. There was one around allowing, persons with disabilities or persons caring for those with disabilities to be counted as in person for quorum for the purposes of establishing a quorum. And NHSBA opposed that because they said they want remote participation for all members. And that's it.
Okay, they are in your drive, but at the next meeting,
Yes.
we will have to actually quickly go through each one of them and vote to how we want Kat to vote at the convention. So if for the next meeting, we can have a list of them in the folder, so that we can just quickly go down through the list and approve or not approve. Okay. Yes.
I'm glad to hear it's at the next meeting and not tonight. There are a number of resolutions that we'll have to look at that address open enrollment. The Communications Committee did some work some time ago to draft a white paper for the board that would fully explain the open enrollment and the effects it could have on us. I'd like to get that in your hands at some point. There's no objection from COMCOM. I think put that in the drive for next packet, or in the packet for our next meeting as well.
I think that'd be great.
Okay, good. Okay. Moving on to the scholarship. Dr. Forrest?
So in your packet, you have a scholarship that was organized by the family and friends of Hari Simran. It's to honor his legacy. It focuses on, specifically the policy focuses on service to others and service given without expecting anything in return, which I think aligns with our giving back to the community, our mission and values of the district. This is a new scholarship. Up to 5 seniors could be eligible for $1,000. That
Each.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Add anything, Tom? I know that.
No.
Is that something we have to approve, or?
Yeah, one of our policy has you approving that you're aware of this and that it's being put into place.
Okay,
So it's, because it is a new,
new scholarship.
yes.
Okay, can I have a motion for that, please?
Second.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. The Antrim field agreement, we'll try, hopefully you've read through that. Just a quick background. Apparently, we've had to, there's 2 agreements. One is a field agreement with the field up in Antrim that's used by the schools and the rec department. And because it's sort of run, we pay part of it, they pay part of it, and that's what's in the agreement. Apparently, historically, they claim that we have been neglectful as far as getting that signed. And so this year, when we went up to meet with them, part of their agreement was that if we don't get it signed by a certain date, we have to pay 10% more than normally we would have to pay. And I explained to them that they must think I'm crazy if I'm gonna sign that. So they said, well, what are some other solutions? So what I offered is finally what was accepted and is in here, which is that on May 1st, any changes to this agreement will have to be shared by both parties. By June 1st, any charges that they have to the field will have to be given to us so that we can check on them. And then by July 1st, we'll get together and we'll sign the agreement. So that seems like it's pretty reasonable. Mr. Grossi has checked over all the numbers to make sure that it's equitable sharing. And the advantage of this is that our budget obviously runs from July 1st to July 1st. Because they're a municipality, their budget runs from January 1st to December 31st. So what they have agreed to is that every summer, they will give us what the next year's costs will be so that we can put it in our budget and then be ready to pay for it the following July 1st. So we're actually paying our share sort of a year behind, and they agreed to that. The gym agreement is still up in the air because we got ready to try to negotiate that, and they let Mr. Grossi said we should share the costs of the gym more equitable, just like we do the field. And they said, oh, we can't do that because there's an agreement that is in place until 2037 that says that this is the way things have to be. Well, I highly doubt that legally you can't change anything in agreement just because it says it runs till 2037. So that is something we're checking on. So the actual field agreement, the gym agreement is still up in the air. But questions about the field agreement?
Is that something we signed?
Pardon me?
Is that the one that we signed
Yeah,
5-6 years ago through
Yeah.
2037?
no, I don't think,
Supposedly.
I know, no.
Yeah, well, that's why, as I said, we're checking on that. So. Questions about the field agreement? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the field agreement then?
So moved. Second.
Okay, if there are no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thank you. Deliberative session date.
Brenda, do you want to talk about it? Brenda, she's our district clerk who is very involved in organizing this and,
So the last page of your packet outlines, and Neil especially, outlines the calendar for the SB2 towns. And so if you look about 3/4 of the way down, at first session, deliberative session must take place between Saturday, January 31st and Saturday, February 7th. We need a regular date. This is also helpful for athletics to avoid scheduling if we can do this even earlier, which this would be much earlier than what we normally do. So we need a regular date and we also need a snow date. So I thought looking at the Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, and then depending on which day you select, using the Wednesday or the Thursday as the snow date.
Or you usually have it on Tuesday, don't you?
What's that?
Usually have it on Tuesday.
But, I think one year, a long time ago, we had it on a different day.
So, yeah, the Tuesday,
The third and the backup.
if it's the first Tuesday of the month, that would be a board meeting, so,
We have foregone board meeting.
to go to the deliberative session. That's
Or
right,
sometimes we've had a board meeting
at
in
the
the library,
deliberative
right,
session,
or,
right, yeah, we did that last year.
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
is that what people would like to do? Okay,
I don't have a preference.
so do it the first Tuesday in,
February 3rd?
So February 3rd, with the 4th or the 5th is a snow date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which date?
Wednesday,
Perfect.
okay, yeah,
Monday or Thursday.
6 o'clock,
pardon me?
The snow day is one day or 2 days after this.
one day.
So Wednesday, the 4th?
First snow day. Okay,
The session is the 3rd, after the board meeting.
instead of the board meeting,
Instead of.
and if we have anything that's important
Okay.
that we need to get taken care of, what we have done in the past is we've gone to the, this is
Library.
held in, right, we've gone to the library, held a quick meeting, and then gone to the deliberative session.
In the past, it's the backup day, snow day done 2 days later. Chances of having a snow day that covers Tuesday and Wednesday is more probable than Tuesday and Thursday.
It's up to you. I'm just,
To make more sense to put a day in between in case it,
We
yeah,
never get starts like that anymore.
Does-
Okay, that's fine.
okay, all right, let's go Tuesday, Thursday then, just to make
So the
sure.
3rd and the,
And now it'll snow on Thursdays.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
And what's the time, Mike?
6 o'clock.
Yeah. And again, it depends on whether we have to meet before that or not. Okay. Any public comment? No? Right, we do have a short non-public, under RSA 91A32C for personnel. Can I have a motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, and we do need to do a roll call vote to go into non-public now,
Tom, aye.
My guy.
Tom, aye.
Janine, aye.
Carl, aye.
And, yes, Curtis, hi.
Yeah.
Jim, yes.
Bill, yes?
Yes.
There, yeah.
so, okay?
Neil, you can go.
Let's shut off.
Oh,
Yeah, I just shut off the hours.